Well, hey now, it's been a while since a new release has been out, and no wonder. This one has so much packed into it that the brew took a little longer to steep. Well, now we're ready to drink it in, and I have a whole bunch of stuff to talk about with version 20.0 of PaperCut. We'll do a Q&A session via chat after the presentation. Feel free to queue up your questions as we go along, and I'll review them at the end. PaperCut MF version 20.0 release. Here are the highlights. A deep dive on all of these features is coming up. First, we'll talk about the new integration with Epic and healthcare in general. Then we'll take a look at the cool enhancement to Print Deploy, making it even more versatile for users. And the other big bullet point with this release is the additional failover options. Yep, talking high availability here to maximize product uptime with PaperCut. With healthcare employees being at the top of essential workers these days, let's start off by seeing what's going on with PaperCut and healthcare. I already spilled the beans a little bit, but there's a lot more. As mentioned, we have a new integration with Epic. We'll talk about working in a Cerner environment, and then we'll cover some other EMR systems as well. Topping the list is the new official integration into Epic. Here's the backstory for Epic Printing. Epic is a suite of applications targeted for the healthcare industry. Print jobs are handled by the Epic Print Server, or servers called EPS in the diagrams coming up. These are all Windows-based servers, by the way, and they transform the jobs into PDF for output. Prints are either done on the front end with direct users of the system, or there is also back-end printing, like reports that are generated for print. Epic systems can be managed locally at the hospital or externally with a cloud version of Epic. And as you can see, PaperCut has always worked out of the box in most instances of Epic. It's the back-end printing when the Epic Print Server is hosted externally where we've had the issues in obtaining username info for the purpose of secure printing and tracking. Well, PaperCut now has an official app in the Epic App Orchard Gallery to accomplish just that, back-end printing and obtaining username information with this very cool output management app that accepts print jobs from the EPS and then sends them to local queues. This is a standalone installer that works with all PaperCut MF versions and Epic systems running version 2018 or later. You do need to purchase and install one app for each EPS that is running in the environment. As you can see from this diagram, the EPS server forwards jobs to a Windows server. The PaperCut Epic app is installed on that server to intercept the job in order to tag it appropriately. Now, we're able to use all of the PaperCut features in an Epic environment, like secure release and find me printing, all tracked easily in the PaperCut server by using replicated queues on a local print server. Let's move into Cerner and see what's going on there. I mentioned Windows servers being used with Epic. Cerner uses CUPS print servers, and print jobs are processed by Cerner print servers in Olympus. Cerner has local and queue printing, both hosted locally in the hospital or externally. As noted here, PaperCut MF works out of the box in most cases with Cerner. When Cerner is hosted and managed externally and the end user is using queue printing, then we simply use LPD or IPP as the print protocols and we're good to go. ACDI's solution architects are well-versed in both Cerner and Epic printing, so make sure to engage our resources when you find these opportunities. As to Cerner setups, use the PaperCut LPD server on the local print server, or set up an IPP server. In Cerner, you will need to configure the LPD server as an external print job handler. replicate the queues on a local server, install a print provider, a secondary or a site server, and then configure the LPD server to forward print jobs to the replicated queues. Here's a diagram of what that looks like. There's no other app needed for Cerner to work with PaperCut. You just need to configure the print servers correctly. There are a few other EMR or EHR systems out there, and listed here are a few that we know about. ACDI has integrated PaperCut into a couple of these environments as well. Just like Epic and Cerner, the front-end printing process works out of the box without any additional apps. Again, reach out to your account representative so we can provide assistance on the setup with our solution architect team right here at ACDI. On to the latest from Print Deploy. This exciting feature came out in version 19, now enhanced in version 20. Print Deploy is the automated print queue installer that just works. Users don't have to do anything for print queues to automatically install on the user's workstations. And the right driver will be installed to the right person at the right location every time. As cool as Print Deploy is, a couple of things were noticed. Since we distribute print queues via the IP address, there are a few cases where the IP schema did not match the physical locations of the printers. There were also some cases where a specialty printer was needed, like a wide format device or a production unit. In these situations, you can now enable the self-service capability of Print Deploy. Create optional drivers for users to install through a simple interface that shows up in the notification area. That's down by the date and time. And all you need is a right click to bring this to life. The help link can also be customized. Maybe you'll need to provide a map if that's what the use case calls for. In this interface, the end user can now see all the printers that Print Deploy has installed for them, their location, description, and queue name. The user can then quickly install the printer with one click or search for a printer if there are a lot to choose from. And if need be, an end user can even change their credentials in the Print Deploy client UI. This new feature actually does not require PaperCut version 20.0, as it is more dependent on the Print Deploy version. Remember, Print Deploy automatically updates in the background, and new features can be available without the need to update the actual PaperCut version. As long as you are running Print Deploy version 1.2.1194 or greater, then you can enable the toggle switch. On your PaperCut server, navigate to the Data Config folder where PaperCut is installed. Add the line self-service enabled equals true. Save the file and restart the Print Deploy server. Note there is a separate service, so you don't have to restart the entire application server. Later versions of Print Deploy will have this feature enabled by default. Now you just need to select the queues that you'll want to be optional. Press Save and Deploy. And the end user's computer will refresh the list automatically. Then the user will have the ability to select optional drivers that are enabled for them. Let's see what this looks like in the admin console. If a client matches the IP range and user group filtering for the zone, the printer's list on the client will be refreshed. This also means that print queues that were previously optional but are now automatically installed will be updated on the client to reflect this change. In the lower right is the toggle switch. Choose the printers you want as optional, check the box, connect to the zone, save, and deploy. In the PaperCut admin UI, you will now notice an area for a display name that can be different from the zone name to make it easier for end users to locate the correct optional printer for installation. Remember, their main print drivers are automatically installed. The user identity screen can be set to auto or prompt. For instance, a shared computer might require a prompt to identify who is using the workstation at that time. And this is what the end user sees. The UI shows the print queue name, zone display name, and status of the installation if it hasn't already completed. Here are the optional printers this user has access to. They're found under the Add Printers tab in their Print Deploy client that runs local to the machine. With one click, a user can install or uninstall any optional printer. Without modification, the Help tab on the user's client will display the Print Deploy Help Center. This link can be changed at the server level in a config key by pointing it to whatever URL you'd like to use. It's really that easy. Print Deploy does have its own Help Center, and of course, it's been updated to reflect all the changes that I've just described here. Here's some more new stuff in PaperCut version 20.0, Cloud Print. What we're talking about here is the ability to send a print job from off-network and have PaperCut grab the job and track it appropriately. There's a lot to cover, so let's get going. What makes PaperCut cloud printing so cool? Peer-to-peer connection protocol. It's the same protocol for applications like Google Meet, for instance. Jobs go right to the print server whenever possible. Data is encrypted end-to-end. Jobs are transferred over the fastest connection available, and no one, not even PaperCut, can access your print jobs. Now, that's what you should be looking for in a cloud print solution. Let's see how this is configured. Of course, the documentation is in the knowledge base, so you don't have to grab screenshots unless you want to, of course. Here are the ports used and the URLs that you'll want to list in your firewall. Please note that you do not have to have PaperCut running in the background. Remember, this is mobility print, and there is a standalone version that's free available on the PaperCut.com website. Of course, you don't authenticate and track jobs without PaperCut, but if all you're looking to do is enable printing for your users, then PaperCut has you all set with the absolutely free version of Mobility Print, and this is touted as the replacement for Google Cloud Print. Now, here's how you enable Cloud Print. In the install location of PaperCut under Data Config, a new TOML file needs to be created named cloudprint.conf.toml. Then restart the Mobility Print service. There is a separate service for Mobility Print as well, so you don't have to do the full application server. Cloud Print is available currently only for managed Chromebooks. Configuration is a little like known host, if you've used that before. And when I discuss mobility print installation with our professional service engineers, they typically like known host anyway. Configuration is continued on the G Suite admin console, where you'll navigate to Chrome Management, Apps and Extensions. Under the Policy for Extensions, you'll add your setup link to the policy. And now, here's how you print from a Chromebook. It's just like native printing. Control-P, printers will just show up. End user doesn't have to do anything. The actual print job will stay on the local network whenever possible. So now let's take a look at how to manage Mobility Print's cloud printing. You will have a lot of control over the cloud print environment, where you'll also be able to see the number of jobs printed using specific links. Each link can be disabled, so a user will not be able to access the setup page, or you can prevent printing completely. And then any link can easily be re-enabled, none of this affecting the local printing that's already going on. Here's the details about that transmission. The local network is preferred as jobs go directly from the client to the server. Jobs are encrypted end-to-end and will be transferred over the fastest connection available, providing security and speed for your off-network print jobs without any unnecessary network traffic. I got a few questions that have come up regarding Cloud Print. What if I'm already using MDNS or DNS SD? They will continue to work even with Cloud Print. You don't have to disable or reconfigure these. Cloud Print adds functionality on top of these, so you can print from outside of your network with a managed Chromebook at this time. Windows and Mac will soon be available for Cloud Print, so stay tuned. If you already have Mobility Print set up, then nothing changes for those users that are printing locally. If you need to print off-network, then just run through the setup again using the Cloud Print URL and you'll be good to go. Note that each server at this time will require its own setup link. No one link will provide access to multiple servers, so just keep this in mind when you're designing the system. This new Cloud Print feature does work with both MF and NG editions of PaperCut. However, it doesn't require PaperCut on the back end, as Mobility Print is free. Therefore, Cloud Print is free. For authentication, tracking, and secure release, then you'll need to add PaperCut into the mix. The next new exciting feature with PaperCut version 20.0 is application server failover. Of course, uptime is good. Just ask any T-Mobile subscribers. They were out for the better part of the day earlier this week. And there are many ways in which to keep your network up and running at that capacity. Many system administrators are using these types of systems for clustering and replication, and note PaperCut is not included in this list. This is all networking. So the question becomes, does PaperCut have in-app high availability? And this actual question does come up on RFIs and RFPs. And the answer now is a resounding yes. With the use of a network load balancer, this new in-app solution will protect the application server where clustering or virtualization technologies cannot provide failover. This is now an alternative solution to keep the application server up and running, providing self-healing in the event of a failure. External components like secondary and site servers, embedded clients, and user clients, they're all supported. Now, this is the important stuff. The requirements to make this happen. And note, we're not talking about PaperCut stuff either, other than version 20.0 or above. One of the biggest takeaways is that a layer 4 NLB is needed. Many are layer 7. So again, please take note of that. You'll need at least 2 servers, of course, and an RDBMS. PaperCut supports many databases, so you're not limited. You'll also need shared storage for some of the PaperCut files to reside, and print queues, including Mobility Print, need to be on secondary or site servers. From a schematic point of view, it looks like this. The database needs to be configured for high availability, with the application servers sharing a common storage area. This then goes to a network load balancer, where the print servers are set up to handle the print queues. There's really 10 steps to success for making this happen. Number 1, install PaperCut MF and migrate to an external database of your choice. 2, enable high availability in the server.properties file. 3, move PaperCut MF data folder to a shared location. Number 4, confirm PaperCut MF is up and running. 5, configure the server address in the PaperCut admin console. 6, you'll need to set up the SSL certificates. Number 7, install PaperCut MF on the additional server or servers. 8, ask the customer to configure the NLB, the network load balancer. 9, point all PaperCut MF components to talk to the network load balancer. And then finally, number 10, test again, and then do another test. I strongly advise you to test the system while you still remember what you've done. Some additional configurations will also be needed when using cloned VMs, print deploy, web print, or if you have any customized branding or reports. Of course, lots of great info available in the knowledge base, and there is a new high availability certification that's available in the LMS section of the PaperCut portal. Do check this one out. It's really intense. PaperCut version 20.0 includes an update to device scripting. The difference here is in the additional platforms that are now supported with device scripting. We see that on the chart on the right-hand section here. There are a few caveats and limitations with device scripting, so please check out the knowledge base article on known issues. Here's a couple of great reasons to have device scripting, as you're able to allocate quotas differently for print and copy jobs, and that could come in very handy in many use cases. Moving on now to enhanced MFD deployment. What MFD deployment means is the ability to roll out many devices all at once, like when you have 10, 20, or more to install. This was introduced using server commands on a few platforms with version 19.1. We added some more OEMs with 19.2. Now there's a wizard built into the admin console so you can stage devices that will be installed later so they're ready to go. The wizard is located under Devices over on the right-hand side, and there's a new link, Create Multiple Devices. Clicking on the link will provide a video with step-by-step instructions. The CSV template is there for download, and you upload your completed spreadsheet in the same window. There are mandatory fields in the CSV template, as well as optional values like site server info, print queues, and locations. And you can create a staged device. A staged device can then be deployed with one click once the physical device is on location and ready to print. Now, let's think about the staged device a little bit more. I know in the past, I've been involved with school installations that take place in several buildings, include a good quantity of devices in total. How nice it would have been in those days to be able to have everything prepared in PaperCut, so once the device arrived and was set up, it'd been great to just click a button and have it available in PaperCut. Well, now you can, and this should really help out with your larger deployments. Of course, plenty of documentation is available on the portal, and there's also a README file with the CSV templates that you can refer to. Some questions that come up with, will a staged device consume a license? And no. Only deployed devices require a PaperCut device license. Most likely, some more platforms will be added if there's a demand, and you cannot revert a deployed device back to a staged device. You can only create a staged device via the CSV file. In the percolator, support for multiple G Suite domains to prevent username clashes from occurring. Version 19.2 introduced this feature for Active Directory users in the percolator, and it's now been extended in version 20 with G Suite customers with multi-domains. There are some things to be mindful of. On-demand user creation is not possible. And if you have an existing setup, you'll want to take care so users aren't replicated in the system. Your best bet is to get an ACDI solutions architect involved so they can vet everything out for you. OEM and region-specific updates. Sharp language selection. Sharp can now provide end users with the capability to change the PaperCut interface into their preferred language. Once a user changes it at one device, it will follow them to all the other connected devices. Very handy when you have users that speak different languages in one location. A couple of things to note with Rico devices. Rico previously has had language selection, and the list has now been expanded. Also, Rico devices can now auto-detect scan paper sizes now. And these PaperCut enhancements have been certified by RIDP, that's Rico Development Program, done here at Rico USA, right here in the States. Pleased to announce Lexmark Integrated Scanning, rounding out the list of manufacturers with this capability. This means that Lexmark customers can now take full advantage of the PaperCut MF integrated scanning features, as well as being able to select and allocate print jobs at the time of release. Essential when you need to apply a shared account from a mobility print job. This new look will also provide a consistent user experience when using Lexmark and other OEM devices. You know, some OEMs sell Lexmark under their own brand, and that will be consistent now too. You'll find managed and secure integrated scanning functions on older generations and the smaller 4.3-inch screen devices. Speaking of 4.3-inch screens, for HP devices, there's a fix on those smaller screens to fix a rendering issue. As you can see from the before and afters, this makes the smaller HP screen look really nice. Hey, new in version 20.0 is the ability to change print settings defaults. Now, this is supported on Rico, HP OXP, Xerox, and Toshiba V3 devices right now. And this is where you'll have the option to default duplex and grayscale settings at the time of print release. There's a config key for each that'll allow you to control. It'll pre-check the boxes for the users when they log into the device. These are the two config keys that I just mentioned. Finally, this is something on the very near horizon that is kind of part PaperCut and a bigger part of ACDI. It's called ACDI Analytics. You'll be able to find it under Reports, Data Integrations. It's not there yet. Make sure you keep in touch with your ACD account rep for all of the details. What is it? What this button will do is open up a whole world of data for your review. Imagine being able to slice and dice all of your customers' PaperCut data with charts and graphs that they've never seen before. Add easy-to-use filters, and off you go. But what about other data? Well, we can do that too, like this sample from a hospital. It doesn't matter what the data is as long as you have the data to analyze. We have the tools to help you. You'll be hearing a lot more about ACDI Analytics in the near future. Stay tuned. Whew. That wraps it up for today. Just a little bit of information for you. I know, there's a lot here. Have no worries. We're going to post this on the ACDI YouTube site straight away. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss an update. There's a whole lot of things coming up this year, and we're just scratching the surface. Q&A is coming up for those of you live. I'm Doc Balgi for ACDI, and you can reach out to me via email. My address is thedoctor@acd-inc.com. Check out my podcast, What's the Solution? It's on all your favorite platforms. Thanks for joining today. Be kind.